fear to give. I feel but I can't forgive. I go all in this time, yeah, I won't regret. I'll pick the best on trip, they don't understand. I play to win, yeah, I play to win, I play to win. Yeah, I play to win, I play to win. Oh, play to win, I play to win. Yeah, I play to win, I play to win.
So, welcome to the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast and Show. I'm John McGlynn. You can find me on a Twitter machine at JohnMcGlynn75. Today, I had the pleasure of talking with co-host with the Mo-host, Justin Taylor, my regular guy, JT Orange, and the trade guys themselves, Matty Kiwoom and Jason Allwine. You can find them on the Twitter machine. We'll find that out in a second. They run this Trade Gods Invitational League that I'm part of, and it's a fantastic league. I just found them on Twitter. I followed them, and it's been a great follow ever since there. And I joined. I got lucky enough to be in their Invitational League. It's been absolutely awesome. So their stuff's on YouTube nowadays. We'll talk to these studs about their work life, their career outside of fantasy football, some hobbies, some commissioner questions, some settings they prefer in leagues they play in, some NFL news and rumors, and we'll review some trades that happen in my Mighty McGlynn home leagues. And then we'll break down the team to see if it's a rebuild, remodel, and take some steps to get it where it needs to be. So let's get ready for this.
McGlynn is in. I repeat, McGlynn is in. Let the fun begin. This is the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with your host, John McGlynn.
Was that Herms?
He got them guests on the Rolodex, stopping by to talk about some Dynasty Superflex. Everybody, yo, commish is in. It's time to sit down to listen to John McGlynn. Yo, who we trading, who we fading, who we getting off the squad. Knowledge never overrated, playing for number one. And yo, McGlynn is in. It's time to let the fun begin. It's the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with John McGlynn.
Welcome aboard, everyone. Let's get to meet these studs that came on this week with us. So first of all, you guys, tell me about yourself, where the Twitter machine can find you, and what you do in the fantasy football world that makes people want to follow you. So, Matty, go first.
So my name is Matty Kiwoom. You can find me on Twitter at Matty Kiwoom. That is not my government name. That is my pen name. But it's been fun. What I do in fantasy football, I would say I try to cause chaos, but at the end of the day, I'm about trades, dynasty, getting some value, having some fun, and talking to my man Jason right here.
Jason. Speaking of Jason, answer those questions yourself now.
Yeah, I got you. You can find me on Twitter at JFootballWine, and then I spend most of my time on the Roto Underworld Instagram and Facebook. That's at Roto Underworld on Instagram, Player Profiler on the Facebook. Find that stuff there. And then, of course, man, Trade Gods on Thursday night with my Trade God brother over there, Matty Kiwoom. And then, of course, also, I've now got a new show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. on the Player Profiler YouTube, Wake and Take. So
it's a great show. I love listening to it. When I have a chance to listen to it, I absolutely tune in all the time. It's good stuff, man.
Thank you.
So tell me about a little bit life outside of football for you guys, Matty. What do you do when you're not doing fantasy stuff?
Man, I'm just fantasy football was a hobby long before I started doing content. Following people in the community was something that I like to do long before I ever contributed myself. So fantasy was a hobby that I've kind of turned into a super duper hobby where I talk about it and write about it. But I'm just a 35-year-old salesman, married, got 3 little ones, and just kind of living the dream day by day.
Yeah, I love these. Hey, Wendy, thanks for checking in. And then McGlynn is in. That's my regular.
Nice.
My guy.
Shout out. The McGlynn is in, baby.
So what about you, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm really kind of I do a lot of things. So I'm either hiking with my girlfriend, playing video games with my best friends. I play soccer on Sundays, and I'm big on TV. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd too. So.
What video games are you playing right now, Jason?
Right now, I mean, when I find time, I really like Rocket League because the matches are only 5 minutes. And it's a really good game. I can squeeze in a match or two, and it's probably what I would call the only video game that's a sport. So
we've been to 43 states already, and we go on some hikes and some stuff, and in Utah, Wyoming was my favorite place to do. Where's there hiking around Georgia?
In Georgia, I mean, we just go to the state parks, and I mean, literally all of them have the state park pass. I could go. Man, I'm telling you, you do not want to open this book. I could talk on and on about parks. I just did a road trip last summer where I went to 4 or 5 national parks with my girlfriend around the country, and I I really do love this stuff. But this weekend I'm going on a hike at a place called Arabia Mountain, and it's really nice.
My favorite place is Bryce Canyon, Inspiration Point at Bryce Canyon in Utah is my favorite. That's absolutely awesome. Like we buy the park pass every year when we go on these trips, and it pays for itself. Like after the first trip or two, absolutely. Yeah. So that's speaking of fantasy football. When did you guys start playing fantasy football? And then are you Dynasty best ball or like a redraft guy still? Jason, go ahead.
I started in Maurice Jones-Drew's rookie year. He was my the first player I remember having on my fantasy football team. So I think that's like 2006, man. I was like 8 years old. I just played in my dad's league with his coworkers and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I pretty much I started Dynasty 2 years ago. And that's all I do now. I play in one redraft league, but I mean, I've been pushing them to switch it to Dynasty because it's just not that much fun.
I almost hate the redraft now because Dynasty is so awesome. You know, you can't do it. So I already see the look on your face. And what about you, Maddie? It's kind of looks like a toss-up question for you also.
Yeah, well, you know, it's kind of like I'm 35, so I've kind of run the gamut of fantasy sports. I started playing fantasy baseball maybe like 2003. Kind of casually, then you start graduating in football, and then me and my buddy started a home league 11 years ago, and we got serious ever since. And we started with redraft, a couple of keepers, maybe a bunch of keepers. Now I'm Dynasty, best ball. It's like it's like Pringles. Once you pop, the fun don't stop. You start getting all these different games, trying all the different formats. Jason's trying to get me in an IDP league. I did a guillotine league. It's like, you know what? Send it my way. I'm gonna give it a chance, baby.
Yes. we don't say those words around here.
John hates it. John hates it.
We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno here. Okay.
I love IDP. John hates IDP, so he's like we only talk about regular Dynasty here. I don't care about your Debbie leagues, and your IDP leagues, and all that stuff. But I play in everything too, man. I love it. It's just every year somebody asks me to join a league, and it's something slightly different than I played in. I'm like, all right, I'm in. It's something new. I'll do it again.
JT just published his first IDP rankings on DLF this week, right?
Yep, DLF by IDP.
Nice
Rankings are up.
I don't know anything about IDP.
They'll be updated again at the end of free agent period, and then I'll throw in the rookies once we get the draft underway.
Wendy, Dynasty scares the shit out of me. I'm actually helping Wendy. I'm kind of her person on a team this year, kind of helping her out with her draft, and then I'll probably walk away after that, but just get her started, put the duckling in the water and let it swim away, kind of stuff. So we'll kind of do that stuff. I'm glad she's a teammate. I'll see her at the expo. She's going to the expo this year too, so super happy to meet her in person also. So so I guess what's your favorite part of this whole? I mean, just is it? Do you love Dynasty leagues, or do you love like the content creating part of it, or the podcast, or actually being in leagues, or trying to find out new stuff like DSF or Debbie? Maddie, what do you think?
I am old school as it gets. I play fantasy football so that I can pretend like I'm a team builder. I can pretend like I'm a professional GM, and that's how I do all my content. That's how everything stems from that. I like to pretend. So I love Dynasty because you can trade picks. It's the most you can do to actually feel like you're Chris Ballard or one of these dudes, Ryan Poles, slinging deals. So I love Dynasty.
I think the people who used to play Madden in the franchise mode back in the day, that's exactly what I did. That's exactly how we did. I used to go through and like take stats of all the offensive linemen who had the best passing and the running and pass blocking, which running backs were the fastest. I mean, I had notebooks and stuff like that. So that was good. Jason, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my favorite part about fantasy football is kicking back on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, cracking open a cold one, and tuning into Red Zone with all of the stakes on the line, because there's no better way to just take in football than when you also have fantasy football players attached to it. I mean, that's just my favorite part, genuinely, just enjoying it, just watching the magic unfold in front of my eyes.
I'm super lucky. I run a bunch of home leagues in the Chicagoland area. I found guys on Twitter, like Nick Scripp and like Joe Castleman. I mean, I can name all the people in all my leagues. Mm-hmm. But it's awesome because I always have somewhere to go on Sundays. Somebody's always doing something. My neighbor Joe across the street actually put a second TV in his garage because I'm like, dude, I'm not going over to watch the Bears game and commercials all the time. You got to turn on Red Zone. I'm not coming over. So you put Red Zone TV on one, and the Bears game is the volume on the bottom, and the Red Zone's on top. So you go over there now, crack beers, invites people over every Sunday. Yep. It's absolutely awesome. Yeah, Red Zone is. It's absolutely. It's being in home leagues. You should get. It's absolutely fucking awesome. With your teammates and shit.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite host for fantasy football?
Sleeper.
Sleepers.
Sleeper, for sure.
Sleeper.
No doubt. Good. That's kind of easy question. Easy.
It's
Yeah.
becoming easier and easier. The sleeper is so
Yeah.
fantastic.
What was your favorite hobby before fantasy football?
I've been a career hobbyist. It's just I started collecting cards for a minute. When I was a kid, I collect Pokemon cards, baseball cards,
Nice.
football cards, video games, playing sports all day. Like back, I'm a little older, so I remember when kids played outside every day. That was me slinging the football, playing basketball, dunk contests, hide and go seek, manhunt, you name it. So I've been a hobbyist my whole life, so it's almost perfect that fantasy football now is filling that kind of like earning that I've had my whole life of doing shit.
5'9". Tell me about these dunk contests for 5'9" dudes like you.
Oh, you lower the rim. Drop that thing down. You just windmill bang on people.
Oh yeah.
Drop that thing down.
The 7-foot nerf.
7.5, 8 foot, 7.5, 8 foot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just dunk away, baby. That's what you always did it that way when I was a kid.
What up,
You-
Frim?
You bring that thing so low that you want to act like Dwight Howard for a specialty dunk. You just raise it to like 6 feet, and you're like, "Oh, what is he doing? He's getting height now."
Absolutely. Jason, what was your favorite hobby before fantasy football?
Yeah, I mean, so before I quit my job and decided to chase fantasy football, I was a GameStop store leader, so video games mostly. But I mean, like Maddie, I mean, I've picked up so many random things over the years. Like,
Yeah.
it's everything.
I tell you what, I've always kind of been that person like, oh, with 4 kids, there's no way I can just quit my job and never like become full time. But I don't have the skill set you do either. But I wish you guys that took this plunge to do this kind of stuff absolutely the best of luck, man. When I hear people quit their job to follow this dream of fantasy football, I know I could never be able to do it financially, and I don't know how to use like sheets and all that other stuff like that. I don't know how to do that. You told me about before you went to college for journalism, graphic design, and all the other stuff like that, man. I give you all the credit in the world, and I can't wait to sit back and watch you rise to the top, man. I'm so happy to hear that.
That's so nice you say. That's so nice, John. I appreciate that. But I still got my full-time job too. You just you do it as fun. Like you guys have a great show. It's fun. At the end of the day, it's like, you know what? This is what you do it for. You just have some fun, do it every single week, and who knows where it could take you.
Yeah. Everyone's got a favorite football player they like to have in their fantasy team, and then a favorite player in real life. So, Maddie, start with you. Like, who's your favorite real life football player of all time, and then who's your favorite player you ever had or have now on your fantasy team?
So my favorite fantasy player of all time has become more and more controversial as he's gone more and more crazy, but it's Antonio Brown. I had him when he was a rookie, and I was like, this guy's got something. And then I just had him through I won championship after championship because he went bonkos. I think it was 2017 or 18 where he had that ridiculous game against the Saints, won me a championship. He's my favorite of all time, but he just gets crazier and crazier, and I get more and more embarrassed to admit it. So maybe next time on the show you ask me a similar question, I'm going to not say anything about him. But now my favorite player, Travis Kelce. Love Travis Kelce, which is crazy. I'm a Patriots fan. I love Gronk, but I still love Travis Kelce. I think he's just a baller, and he's just so cool.
JT's a Steelers fan, so I'm the Antonio Brown. I saw him shaking his head.
I wore my AB jersey to one of my drafts this year just to see what everybody would say.
Oh, yeah.
I wore my old AB jersey. Man, still one of the best. Guy's losing his mind, but man, he was unbelievable in fantasy football. That's for sure.
I got a white Steelers jersey. I'm a Patriots fan, and this is how much I love Antonio Brown. I have a white Steelers jersey that I would often wear, and I found his Eastern Michigan, I think it was, or Central Michigan, Central Michigan Chippewas jersey. I had 2 Antonio Brown jerseys.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
All of my leagues were kick return and punt return, with yards and stuff like that. So Antonio Brown was a cheat code for shit like that. Yeah, absolutely. Jason, how about you?
I just got to say, if you'd given me 10 guesses at who Maddie's favorite football player of all time, I would not have gotten down to Antonio Brown, but I love it. And we mentioned these Antonio Brown jerseys. I told Maddie about this. I saw a guy in an Aaron Hernandez jersey walking around in public
2 weeks ago.
I was like, recently.
He's too cheap to buy a new jersey.
Yeah, it's time. If your jersey has a murder Netflix about it, a Netflix episode, probably get rid of that jersey.
Yeah, right. Jason, who's your favorite player for fantasy and for real life?
I mean, just it's the GOAT, Tom Brady. I mean, just it is what it is. I love him more than anything. I always try to get him in every league, regardless. And now that he's gone, it kind of hurts. I'll say a player that's currently playing now that I, for some reason, can't get off my rosters and keep finding himself on my team is Rondale Moore. I can't tell you why. I honestly can't tell you why.
Common theme. I mean, he was a lot of people I have Rondale Moore in the roster. He's not half of mine. I'd like to have him on more, but it is what it is. I overindulge in players sometimes, and it bites me in the ass sometimes. But other times, it's won me championships when I had like guys like Jamal Charles and shit like that on there. So Antonio Brown. So I get it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite Sunday afternoon munchie food when you're glued to the TV watching Scott Hansen or Red Zone? Maddie, go ahead.
It's got to be wings. I'm a wings guy. Bone in, bone out, don't matter. Give me blue cheese all day long. Wings guy.
Bone out wings are called chicken nuggets, buddy, not wings.
I'll take chicken nuggets too. I'll take chicken nuggets. Quick story about chicken nuggets. I was in Portugal, right? And we went to this place. Everyone's getting seafood. It was the most amazing seafood platters you'd ever seen. My buddy gets chicken nuggets, and everyone's making fun of him. Like, you come all the way out, you get chicken nuggets. He let me try one. Greatest chicken nugget I've ever had in my life. Greatest of all time.
I haven't ever really had a bad chicken nugget, so I'm not going to lie to you guys.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The Dino Nuggets, chicken nuggets, you name it. I eat it all. You know what I mean? Wendy says, I love Tom Brady more than you, Jason. Sorry.
No way.
Ooh.
Not possible.
It's not possible.
Literally, I have a Tom Brady shrine behind this green screen. Not like a shrine, but like I have 3 Tom Brady action figures.
Nice.
He has a Tom Brady ugly sweater, Michigan sweater.
I bought my brother for Christmas last year a half Tom Brady, half Buccaneers, half Patriots jersey for his Christmas present. That was
nice.
Yeah, it was good. Jason,
I
how
have a
about
fat
you?
head in my bedroom, my childhood bedroom, the Tom Brady fat head for 15 years, man.
What's your favorite food, Jason?
You guys have buffalo chicken dip?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
that's it. It's good. It's better than the normal pizza and wings and stuff like that. It's something different for a change. I haven't heard that yet.
Dude, I'm telling you, I have a friend, Jacob, shouting him out. He'll never listen to this, but he makes some mean buffalo chicken dip when we watch football together. And I mean, that thing's gone. And I mean, gone.
So JT owns a bunch of restaurants. He owns actually like pulled pork and all that stuff, kind of restaurants and stuff like that. And so I don't think I asked him like, what's your favorite food, JT?
Dude, I'm a big chips and dip guy too. Buffalo chicken dip,
Yeah.
Southwest queso.
Yeah.
Like I love anything chips and dip, man. I'm a chips and dip guy. Give me something like horseradish in it. I'll eat that like crazy, man. I love dips, chips and dips.
Yeah.
It's someone out there. I have a food truck, but I got the idea of opening a food truck that was all chips and dip food truck. Bunch of crazy dips.
Fire.
I get a kill.
It would be crazy.
Yeah.
Drop the mic, face football. Big John, what's up, brother? Thanks for checking in. All right, so we're gonna ask some commissioner questions here real fast. We're gonna switch shifts a little bit. So losers bracket question: do you guys have a draft lottery for your losers bracket?
I do. My home league, we do.
And do you have like a? So we have like 40 and 25, 15, 12, 10 and 5 for like picks 1 to 6 kind of thing like that with bingo balls, all that kind of same thing.
Yep. We have the losers, the bottom 8 teams play each other for supremacy, and then they get ping pong balls according to where they finish in the losers bracket.
Jason?
No, I actually have never heard this before. Actually, somehow it sounds very interesting. I trust my guys, and I just at the very least make sure that they set their roster with active players, and just wish for the best, right?
If the losers bracket, whoever wins the losers bracket in like real time, like not before the lottery, at the regular season, whoever wins the loser bracket, do you get them at pick 113 or 213 as a winning consolation prize for winning the losers bracket?
No, they don't get anything special.
You just show up and that's it.
They get buffalo.
Yeah,
chicken.
I mean, it's like they don't get last place. I feel like that's the success enough.
Well, then we'll get to that question in a minute. Yeah, you guys keep waivers on all season?
Yep, all the time.
We turn ours off after the Super Bowl, and we turn it back on like after the rookie draft, just because people have like fantasy baseball, shit like that going on. But so it's that's not everybody's as serious like as I am about fantasy football. Like I say all the time, a lot of guys are cops and firemen; they can't have their phone on all the time. So it is what it is. Give people a break. But during the regular season, I don't care what's going on. If the 9-story fire, too bad. You lost out on your guy. Too bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you your opinion on some settings. Okay, you tell me if you love or you hate or. It's okay. So full PPR, Jason.
I think it's fine. I'm more of a half PPR guy, but I mean, it's just about adjusting at the end of the day.
Maddie?
100%. Give me more points, not less.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Yes.
Arena football. Pew, 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 pew.
I wish we could. Tight end premium?
No, not in my home league. But I'm open to it, and I'm in a couple like TGIF is TEP, so I'm open to it. But my home league, we're not.
Jason?
Yeah, I like it. And to add on to kind of last question, if you make a tight end premium half in a half PPR league, and you're making tight ends full PPR, I like that a lot. I think that kind of
we do. Wide receivers are 0.5, running backs are a full point, and tight ends are 0.75, 1.75 tight end premium. So we kind of do it like that. It's pretty cool. 0.1 per carry. So every 10 carries is a point. That Jason?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm not against it.
I'm actually, it's one of those things I have been observing lately because I feel like it's becoming a skill set. Carrying the ball, running backs don't do it often, but I'm not in a single league that does have that rule.
Point per first down, Jason?
Yeah, give it to him. It's a little bit more meaningful. I mean, maybe not too much, but yeah.
Derrick Henry loves that stat.
Yeah, it's a cool stat. I don't have any leagues that had do points per first down though.
Point per target, point pass per attempt, kind of stuff like that?
No, I don't have anything like that. I don't know if I would like that though. I don't know.
Well, it's 0.1 per target and 0.1 for pass attempt. So if you got a guy, like last year, you got someone who rushed a ton, like Justin Fields, who only threw, 10 passes a game, so it didn't really matter. But there's other guys who sat in the pocket and threw 72 passes, so you get points that way also, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm interested in joining a league where all of these kind of things are maxed out because I do think like over time we've developed these ways to kind of balance out the positions because like when we first started, running backs were so much better. PPR came around, even that playing field. And it's like we've seen these things. And now with the points per first down and the 0.1 points per target and carries, those things I think is going to make every single position just more valuable. So I do want to try one of those leagues, but I haven't yet.
Get in there. All right. So here's an Antonio Brown question. Kickoff and punt return yards and touchdowns for individual players?
100%. 100%. I mean, these are yards. They count. They count in real football. They should count in fantasy.
I hated it, but my man Jason has convinced me since we've been recording together. I've heard him talk about it a couple of times. I'm in now because he's right. It counts. It's a skill set.
Yeah.
How much would a passing touchdown be worth?
6.
100% 6.
JT?
I'm always in the 6-point leagues. I'm in a few that are 4-point leagues, and I think one league that's 5. But all the leagues I run, I go 6.
All right, I do 4. I do 5 and 2. That's what I do. So it is what. Bonuses for 100 and 200 yards rushing receiving.
Love it.
I don't know how I feel about bonuses because I feel like they're already getting a ton of points, and so it's like that's kind of what like all the scoring is for, is to make sure you get a lot of points if you do well. So I mean, like I get it, it doesn't happen a lot, but also at the end of the day, they're already getting a lot more points than the next person. So
the only thing I like about MFL is they have the tiered points like this. You get like 0.4 points for every 1 yard passing. So it would add up to like 6 full points if you got 200 yards. But if you got 99 yards, you have like 5.8 or something like that. So they don't do that in Sleeper, which kind of sucks. But I do like having like the tiered where it gives you points, like it's minimal points for every yard passing. And I wish that also that they give 500-yard passing bonus on Sleeper for passing. They only have 300 and 400-yard bonuses. There are 500-yard games. People should be rewarded for it. So what do you guys think about the 300, 400, and 500-yard passing stat or a point for like 6 points per 500 yards? Let's say 4 for 300, 6 for 400, and like 8 for 500-yard passing. Would that be okay?
I love it. Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm still kind of the same. Just like they're already getting a lot more points because they got 500 yards. So
I'm a big fan of what me and my buddies call Super Saiyan games. You guys familiar with Dragon Ball Z?
Of course.
Go Super Saiyan. We call it Super Saiyan games. We love Super Saiyan games when all of a sudden your team's like just not doing it, and they just come in and just like boom. I love it.
Yeah.
I dropped the mic, FF. I had a league that scores were 300 and 400 full PPR. Scary. 1 point per target and bonuses for big touchdowns and yardage bonuses. Yeah, that's what it should be. If that's what we want, baby. We want points.
Points, more points. I'm in a couple leagues where it's like you win if you score like 65. It's so brutal. They're like old school leagues that I can't talk these dudes out of it. They've been playing these leagues for like 25, 30 years. And I'm just like, guys, can we just adjust something? Last year, they finally adjusted for the first time that you got points for rushing yards over 50. You used to never score points unless you got 100. So if you scored 99 rushing yards, you got 0. It was terrible. This league was awful. I mean, guys would win 45, 42. it was just all. I mean, it was so bad. I hated this league so much, but I've been in it forever.
Yeah.
Finally making adjustments, but man, those leagues are so tough because all it takes is one guy to blow up for one team, and then you lose because your whole rest of the team scores 0.
I want points for cheerleader cartwheels. I want points for every time you drink out of a water bottle. I want points for your red Gatorade. I want, you name it, I want points for it, man. So
Oh yeah.
How long until we just have 1,000 points per touchdown?
it's not soon enough. Not soon enough. You guys still play with kickers and defense in your league?
My home league, we do. Hell yeah, baby.
In
And we'll
Dynasty?
never give it up. We'll never get up. No, it's like 10-team keepers, so it's like a
Okay.
modified. But yeah, we got, and keepers have been kept multiple years.
It's such bullshit because if you have like the Patriots or something like that, last 10 years, you've been just rocking it. You know, it's like having Travis Kelce in your team. It's bullshit.
Yeah, Justin Tucker's been that dude, you know.
Yeah, that same thing. If you had the Patriots defense with Justin Tucker, you all of a sudden it's like having two quarterbacks in your team with some of the scoring. It's bullshit.
But
It's
because
such
we
an
have
advantage.
because we've had this going this for so long, and it's only a 10 guys keeper. I've seen kickers dealt for 2nd-round picks when the guys are trying to go for the championship. So it creates like a buzz around a position that is
that's
dumb.
crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, I got a little funny thing I like to make people do. So at my home league, whoever drafts the first kicker and the first defense has to buy a shot from the bartender, and the bartender gets to give them whatever they want. Mystery shot. You don't know what's coming. They might try to mess you up. It's hilarious. And we have one guy that has lived for this every year. Over a decade, he's taken a kicker first every time. I mean, everybody else is taking kickers in like 16, 17 round. He's jumping in like round 6 or 7.
Malort.
He's like, I want a shot.
I love it.
Is it a Malort or a cement mixer? What did they give him?
It's been a lot of some crazy things over the years. A lot of names of shots I shouldn't say online. Really bad stuff that does not taste good at all.
In
What are you guys'
Chicago-
thoughts on Malort?
Oh, it's fucking terrible.
It's terrible.
It's
I
what you
don't
get-
mind it. I don't mind it.
It's what
It
you give
just
people on their
tastes like
21st
it's
birthday
love.
as a joke.
Every time my company goes to Chicago, we take a round of Malort, and I don't mind it. And then someone's like, "Hey, what does it taste like?" And this guy was sitting at the bar with us, and he was like, "I've been here all day for science, drinking Malort." And he says it tastes like, and after he told me this, I said, "That is what it tastes like. It tastes like licking an envelope, the glue on an envelope, and following it with a shot of grapefruit juice." And I was like, "Oh, that is what Malort tastes like to me."
Yeah, that's
The
why
biggest
it's
thing
fucking
for
terrible.
me is the
It's terrible. Yeah.
the initial shot isn't terrible for me. The problem is the aftertaste. It just sits on your tongue and never goes away. So
Oh.
it does taste like you licked a bunch of envelopes.
Yeah.
It just
It
sits
just
on your
stays.
tongue and it doesn't go anyway. And you're like, why is this not going away? For everybody out there, I just got to throw this out there real quick. Look up Malort TV commercial on YouTube sometime. You will die laughing. It's the funniest thing ever. It's this guy taking shots of Malort doing a TV commercial. It's outrageously hilarious. Look it up later. It'll be
Okay.
funny. It's gonna be-
Ugh.
Nice.
You guys in favor of adding a taxi squad or just expand the rosters to like 25 or to 30 or 30 to 35 kind of thing like that?
Just give me more roster space.
Yeah, that's what I say too.
I'm with Jason.
JT's one of those.
I'm a taxi squad guy all the way, but that's because I want to take a super random tight end in the 4th or 5th round of my draft every year, and I'm never going to hold him if it's considered a roster spot. I'm just going to dump him because I know I can't play him. But if he's on my taxi, it's just a whole different feeling. I'm like, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to feel bad about him taking up a spot knowing he's not going to play. He sits on my taxi squad. I'm like, hey, he's good. He's just learning. He's just hanging out for the year. I don't have to worry about it. But I feel like if he's on my roster, I need to go out there and get like some player that's going to play at some point that season. That's why it's just a totally different feeling for me. That's why I like the taxi.
It could be spot 35 for me, the same thing.
Yeah, from my experience too, taxi squads are like beer pong. It's all house rules. I'm in 4 different leagues. The rules of the taxi squads are 4 different things. It's like
Yep.
wherever you go, you gotta follow by the house rules.
No elbows.
No elbows.
What advice would you give to somebody who's who wants to be a commissioner of their own league? Like take that step from being a player to a commissioner. Jason,
Don't do it.
How about you, Maddie?
It's absolutely don't do it. But if you're gonna do it, make rules and stick to them no matter what.
JT?
Zero gray area.
I've run a ton of leagues and a ton of different sports. So what I decided, I started trying to pass off like my baseball league, my basketball league, my hockey league. I'm like, I found a friend who's like really likes that more than anything, and I'm like, okay, you start running that league, and I'll run the football league. So that's what I try to do. But my number one commission thing, I always tell people, do not be afraid to just lay the hammer down and do what's best for the league. Because I've had too many leagues like, I can't get enough guys to vote for that. I'm like, it's killing the league. You got to make a decision. You got to help. So that's always my biggest thing for commissioners. Got to be willing to step up and just say, hey, that's not working. We got to make a change. And I'm just going to executive make the decision as the commish.
Very good, very good. All right, some news and rumors from around the league. We're going to just kind of ask some questions. So we'll start. Jason, here we go. Bears, have they done enough in free agency?
Yeah, if it includes like all the trades they've made and everything, yeah. I'm excited for the Bears next year. Although I will say, I'm pissed. I'm pissed that they're burying Jack Sanborn on the depth chart.
Yeah.
Oh, he's an IDP faller. He is called because he's a guy you don't know where he's going to play, and he was a darling last year of IDP.
Amazing.
Super underrated. Yeah, as a Bears fan watching it, yeah, absolutely. So, Maddie, Bengals, Joe Burrow, who should get what type of contract?
Deshaun Watson plus. I mean, he deserves all the money under the universe. He's the guy. And eventually, we're going to see a lot of super paid quarterbacks, given what these caliber of quarterbacks that are hitting free agency.
They're getting bigger salary caps now. So I see players get a little bit more, but man, that's a big contract. So it's a big handcuff to your team sometimes. I think the Mahomes one is perhaps perfect, where he could restructure after a couple of years, but the guaranteed money all the way across, that's tough to get out of. That kind of deal. So. JT, the Bills, is Josh Allen a trade candidate now in fantasy football with all those kind of injuries picking up and a team like not really be able to get over the hump?
I'm not trading Josh Allen unless I'm just getting everything under the sun for him. I mean, if you got him, I'm keeping him. I'm not moving him. But that's just me. But unless your team is just awful and you got one of those situations where you got Allen and nothing else and you've got to completely rebuild it, maybe you do it. But, man, it's tough to trade any of those top 5 QBs in any format, no matter what.
Truth. Jason, Broncos, who's getting traded, Judy or Sutton?
I think I'm going to I'm giving 2 hot takes here, but one, I hope neither are traded. But I think if one is traded, it's going to be Sutton because Judy is so much better.
Ooh, I'm always a Sutton guy, but I'm starting to retract on that statement and be more of a Judy guy. I think Judy's a little bit better at this point in time. I still do like Cortland Sutton, though. It's a little spot in my heart over here. So, Maddie, Browns, is David Njoku a top 8 tight end?
Nope, I don't even think he's top 10 next year.
Yeah, that new signing just kind of killed him. I was all about Njoku, and now Elijah Moore is going to kill that. Yeah. JT, Buccaneers, is this Mayfield's big opportunity to show himself?
I kind of really think it does, especially if they don't go out and get anyone else and they just go into the season with Mayfield and Trask. I think you got to look, they're starting to run out of spots with these guys. Like, you only get so many chances anymore. I think he's got to prove it now with the Bucs, because if something happens, they bring somebody else in or Trask starts over him, I think you can call Baker Mayfield's career over. I just think he's in trouble. I think this is a spot he's got to prove himself this year.
Yeah, I feel like, unfortunately, they're going to trade Mike Evans, and then someone's going to come knocking on the door and maybe get Chris Evans away or Chris Godwin away too, and that would be like, oh shit. Baker would be like, man, I came to this awesome opportunity and everything just got sucked under my feet. This is bullshit. But it is what if they both stay, this is his last opportunity. Yes. Jason, Cardinals, was picking up a Corey for $3 fab last year a smart move, or are they going to move on? Or is that just the depth chart?
No, I mean, I think if you could get any quarterback that started a game in a super flex league for $3 fab, you've won. I don't care how bad he did, but if he was technically startable and you only spent $3 on him, yeah, that's pretty damn smart. And I think it was more than one game at the top of my head.
3 or 4 games, I think. Yeah. Maddie, Chargers, if Austin Eckler leaves, Kareem Hunt draft, or what are they going to, what's their move?
I could see them going, I'm going to go draft. They're going to go draft. There's a ton of running backs. They don't have to take high-end draft pick to replace that. They can go ahead and get a nice pass catching back in 3rd, 4th round.
Sean Tucker.
Sean Tucker, absolutely.
I want Sean Tucker.
Jahmyr Gibbs. You can get him in the 2nd round. That would be a nice replacement. Get a nice little.
JT, Chiefs. Who do you want on your fantasy team, Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney?
This one's a tough one for me because I'm actually not in on either of these guys. I don't have either of them on any of my teams, but I've absolutely hated on Kadarius Toney like crazy. But I actually think I'd rather have him than Sky Moore on the Chiefs at this point, especially with no Juju around. Somebody's going to have to be the second guy to Kelsey, and I would lean Toney at this point.
I think if Toney is one of those people that really absolutely has the possibility of being the Tyreek Hill replacement, that's the only. So I would probably want Toney myself, even though I have Sky Moore like every team because I paid up out of my nose to get him everywhere. But it is what it is. JT's a Colts season ticket holder, so I try to keep the Colts away from him, so everybody can tease him about their answers. But
I talk too much.
So Jason, Colts should they draft a quarterback or just go get Lamar?
This is going to be a hot take, and I'm surprised I actually feel this way, but the question comes in, and I think they should draft a quarterback. I think Lamar hurts Jonathan Taylor's value, and I think when you have a running back like that, you stick with Jonathan Taylor, you bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Will Levis.
Shut up, JT. You can't say nothing. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm with you, Jason.
JT, hurry up, too. You got 30 seconds.
I'm just gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I want anyone but Will Levis. Oh my God! I was like, if they can take someone else, I'll take Hooker at 4 over Levis at this point. I seriously would. But if they can't get the top 3 guys, I want them to go second round and take Hooker. Let the Minshew mania happen. I'd rather see Minshew mania than Will Levis all year.
Maddie, Cowboys, are they really going to go get Bijan?
No, they finally smartened up, moved on from Zeke. They're not going to repeat that. They're not going to get Bijan at 26.
All right, JT, Dolphins, better back up Mike White or Skylar Thompson? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I was crying. I can't. I'm surprised they went and got Mike White because I feel like Skylar Thompson's like a super similar player to Mike White, but with a little less experience, a little younger. So seems like a similar player to me. It doesn't make sense to me on the signing. I probably would have just stuck with Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think Thompson is better than Mike White. So that's Jason, Eagles. Why can't Kenny Gainwell just be it?
I don't know if we've been able to quite say he can't be it yet. I don't necessarily think he will be it, but I think he'll be good enough. What I'm expecting from Kenneth Gainwell is the 2021 Tony Pollard season. That's what I'm expecting from him next year. And I think that's fine. I think we'll be okay with
that. All right, this is my question. I messed it up. Jason, I got it. It's already penciled to you again. Falcons, why can't Avery Williams just happen?
He will happen.
All right, good answer.
He's been a sleeper of mine since last year, really. I think he's the clear and away Cordero Patterson replacement when that happens. And I think it will happen. I think we're just going to have to take our medicine as fantasy football managers when that does happen. It's not going to be like huge points, but he's definitely going to be usable.
He's already the kick and punt returner. Why can't you just give him some carries, make this thing happen a little bit? Come on, help us out. Help brother out, man.
I just cut him. Don't say that, Jason.
Maddie, 49ers, when Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl and MVP this year, will you be surprised? And don't lie about it.
Yeah, I will be surprised because it's Brock Purdy's squad.
Ooh.
Fake news. But anyway, JT, Giants. Is Daniel Bellinger a buy or an ignore at this point?
Oh, it's so tough for me to say. I love my San Diego State Aztec guy. Man, bringing Waller just really hurts him. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be a better real-life tight end than he will be fantasy. If you get him for cheap, it's not a bad move to go get him with Waller's injury history lately. I still think he's going to have a little bit of value, but it's going to be tough to put him in your lineup outside of a flex play or an injury to Waller this season.
Jason, Jaguars, how good could Trevor Lawrence be?
I'm pretty sure his closest comparable on Player Profiler is Peyton Manning. If it's not, it should be.
Yeah, I think it is.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. Maddie, Jets, if Rodgers just walks away and Lamar goes somewhere else, would they just go with Zach Wilson, or is that no effing way they're going to find somebody else?
No effing way. Saleh already called him quarterback 2 in 2023. They don't even have a quarterback 1. If Rodgers ain't there, if Lamar ain't there, you would see. I bet you that Cam Newton is that quarterback 1 before Zach Wilson is.
That's a hot take. There you go. Awesome. All right, JT, Lions. Is Goff good enough to win this division or playoff game or the Super Bowl?
I mean, he got the Rams there, did he not?
He did.
I mean, they didn't win it, but he got them there. I mean, I think with this team, they're building up. We've seen worse quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. I actually think Goff is solid enough with the team around him that they can do it. I don't think he's going to kill you. I don't know if he's going to win you a bunch of games out of nowhere. But you can make a move, especially if they can win the division. If Rodgers moves on, that division is wide open. I mean, wide open.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Jason, Packers, are they really going to roll out Jordan Love going forward?
Yeah. I mean, I did see today. Head coach. I don't know why the name is slipping my mind right now, but that's what happens when you're hosting. Sorry,
Mike LaFleur.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur. Thank you.
LaFleur.
That's just sometimes you forget things. Sometimes your brain just forgets things. But yeah, he said today we have to temper expectations. However, when you're tempering expectations, that means something's happening, and it means they're rolling out Jordan Love.
Maddie, Panthers. This team's best wide receiver is Marshall, Chark, or Thielen?
For fantasy, it's going to be Thielen. I expect damn near 100 receptions, maybe like 900 or so yards. I think he could put up like a top 30-ish receiver season in PPR.
Wow, that's nice. JT, Patriots. How much can Bill O'Brien impact the skill players for fantasy?
I mean, you got to hope he's got to have some improvement over last year with them just kind of putting the offensive coordinator position, having someone actually there that's done it before. You got to figure there's got to be improvement, right? I mean, you're hoping at least. I mean, I tell you what, I'm hoping it's Mike Gesicki season. I'm hoping Bill O'Brien goes back to the Penn State days. It's like we figure out how to use this guy a ton. I would love to see it for him. I'd love to see it for Juju. I got a ton of both those guys. So I'm hoping, even though I hate the Patriots as a Colts and a Steelers fan that was lost a million times to both of them. They beat us all the big spots. I do think that that team improves a lot, and whether it's Mac Jones or Zappy, I like myself some Bailey Zappy. I think either one of those guys would look decent. I think they're going to be much improved on offense.
Is this a blind love of Juju and Mike Gesicki that me and you have that's saying this, or is it really what do you think is going to happen?
Well,
I don't. I think we're crazy. I feel like it's like me in a tunnel, and I just want it to happen so bad that it's not realistic expectations.
No, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this about Bill O'Brien. The last time he was the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots, yeah, he had Gronk, Hernandez, Wes Welker, arguably better players, but Gronk had the best season of his career. Aaron Hernandez had, I think it was 700 or so receiving yards, 7 or 8 touchdowns. He was relevant. And then Wes Welker had like 1,400 receiving yards. Gesicki, Henry, Juju, it might be a lighter version of that. So I think it might be wheels up if they keep Mac Jones in this type of offense.
Wow, that's nice.
Now, that's good analysis right there. I love it.
Matty, Rams, do you believe Stafford can return to form?
No, I think he's cooked. You're talking about elbow on an aging quarterback. He's cooked.
Cooked. JT, Ravens, how bad is this team without Lamar Jackson?
Like I said, as a Steelers fan, I'd love to see him crash and burn without Lamar. It would be phenomenal, but I think they're really bad. I actually think they're really bad if they don't have Lamar. You've seen it in their record games where he plays and games he doesn't play. It tells the whole story. I mean, this team isn't even close to good without Lamar on it.
Right. Jason, Saints, why do they hate Jameis Winston?
I don't know, because I'm 2021, 5-2. Last year, decent enough. Don't have the exact record, but I mean, he's a type of guy who may lose you games, but he's also going to win you some games. Like, that's just what it is. Like, that's Jameis Winston. You've got to flip your coin, and you're going to get a good game out of him or a really bad game, and you've just got to accept it. What I don't know about this is why Jameis Winston is accepting a backup job with the Saints. If you're going to accept a backup job after being basically given the middle finger, I feel like you just go somewhere else. But I can't really tell you. We had a fun little talk about Jameis Winston earlier today before Maddie joined us, and he's unlocking Brian Edwards this season when Derek Carr.
Jason, have you eaten the food in New Orleans? That's why you don't leave. It's fantastic.
I don't know. I'm not a seafood guy. I do like the beignets at Cafe Du.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I was there. I had Total Soup and beignets and all that kind of stuff. I did the Hurricanes, all that. That purple drink is terrible though that they give out there. What is it?
The shark bite thing, or the hand grenade. There's a whole bunch of those things.
All the things. You go store to store, and it's like it's like I did have some lady just over-serve the shit out of me with a Jameson. I got a Jameson. I love Jameson, first of all, so let's put that on the record here. But I had it was a slushie with Jameson inside of there, and I asked the lady, I'm like, what's going to cost you to get a little bit more Jameson in there? And she must have been drinking too much at the bar or something like that. She just kept pouring the thing in there while she's talking to me, kept going and going and going. it got me a buzz at the end of this, and I could drink a lot of fucking Jameson. Like, I was like, yes, and she charged me $3. I'm like, what? This is great. Yeah,
That's
it
the
was
magic of New Orleans.
Yes, I want to go back there just to the same bar, the same wage, the same bartender, just for that. Maddie, Seahawks. Should I keep DJ Dallas, Darwin Thompson as Walker's handcuff, or just scratch both of them and wait for a replacement if something happens?
Scratch both of them. It's such a deep running back class. Pete Carroll won't be able to help himself. He's going to take a guy in the 4th or 5th, and given the class depth, it could be someone who could absolutely be the handcuff to Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. JT, Steelers. Is Kenny Pickett going to pan out?
I absolutely think Kenny Pickett is going to pan out. I think you're going to look back in a couple of years, and I think it's going to be people are going to start talking about how smart the Steelers were holding out. Wait until he drafted them at 20 and take him at 20 instead of skipping and then trying to figure out what they were going to do at QB, trying to trade up this year, trying to trade up the next year. So I think Kenny Pickett's going to work out. I think he's got that it factor, a lot of comebacks in the year. The stats didn't look great, but I think a whole offseason, they keep putting weapons around him. Just add Jordan Addison to the mix, please, Steelers at 17. And I think Kenny Pickett is ready to roll. I think he is going to be surprise a lot of people with the talent around him this year.
Jason, Texans, go with Mills one more year, or build a team on and build a quarterback, build a team around a quarterback next year, or what do you? They just take quarterback this year.
I think they'll end up taking a quarterback this year. Davis Mills, unfortunately, I kind of liked him going into last year, mostly because outside of Zappe, he was the best rookie quarterback. But I mean, he failed. He's fallen behind the Jimmy Garoppolo line. Like he's not one of the worst starters or even the best backups. To be honest, he's a backup quarterback. That is what he is. I think they're bringing in a quarterback, and I'm not gonna lie. I like the weapons they have. They need to get probably one more wide receiver, but I think John Mechie's pretty good. Nico Collins is pretty good. They brought in someone else too that's missing my mind, but still Devin Singletary and Dameon Pierce is a good enough running back core. I think the team is good enough.
Yeah, well, Maddie, Titans. Do they trade Derrick Henry?
I think they do. They do. Their roster stinks, and you could probably get something for King Henry. They got to do it.
I was all for the King Henry to Buffalo before they signed Damian Harris, but it is what it is. That would have been a great fit, but he's got to go. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if you're the Bills and all of a sudden King Henry comes within price range, Damian Harris ain't stopping you from getting the King.
It would be a great 1-2 tandem, just punching down people's throat with Josh Allen's arm.
Can you imagine?
I couldn't. I really couldn't.
2 battering rams, just boom. Especially if they're not going to outlaw this rugby QB rush. You get Derrick Henry. They might do that from the 16 and just push his ass in.
The wedge, they call that. Yeah, have at it. Absolutely. JT, Vikings. Who's the number 2 pass catcher with Thielen gone now?
If I got to say right this second, I'm saying Hawk is the guy. But I don't think they're not going to come out of this draft without taking a wide receiver fairly high. I can see them taking a wide receiver in the first round, beginning of the second round, somewhere in that mix. I mean, if some of these high-end guys fall, I think, Jordan Addison there would be great. JSN, I think, would be magical with Jefferson. They could be the top 1-2 punch in the league. That would be great if you could get those 2 guys there. So I definitely think that they're going to add a wide receiver, a high-end guy to the mix.
Jason loves JSN this year.
I love JSN.
A lot of people do. It is. He's good. He's definitely a good player. Jason, Washington football team. Why wouldn't they be in on Lamar Jackson?
I don't know. I mean, like Sam Howell. I mean, I get giving the respect and chance and opportunity, right? But I mean, if Lamar Jackson is coming at the door, and you have the team to support him, to be honest, I mean, like I said earlier, like Lamar Jackson would hurt Jonathan Taylor's value. I don't necessarily think he'd hurt Brian Robinson or Antonio Gibson's value. I think he fits enough. Ron Rivera is going to have to get off his dusty ass and figure out an offense that kind of works around that. But I guess that's what Eric Bieniemy is for, right? But yeah, I mean, if I'm the Washington football team, I'm totally in on Lamar.
Yeah, I hate Ron Rivera. As a Bears guy, I watched him on the good defense back in the day. But as a coach, what he's done to my Antonio Gibson shares, I want to punch him in the face every time he's on TV.
I'm with you.
Dude, I'm just hoping Bieniemy just unleashes Howell this year. Bieniemy gets in there and somehow just takes over this offense, tells Rivera, I got it. It's what you hired me for. And he just unleashes a Chiefs-style offense with Howell. It would be the greatest thing ever. I think Howell's awesome. I can't believe he got drafted so low last year. I just think he's a guy. He just crushed in the ACC. I've said this over and over again. If you like Will Levis, how are you not taking Sam Howell? Sam Howell's a 10 times better quarterback than Will Levis is, and I can't believe people are thinking about taking Levis in the top 10 and Howell dropped to the 4th round or whatever he fell to.
6th, I think.
Yeah, it was late. It was like 4th, 5th,
Yeah.
6th. The drop was so deep, I couldn't believe it. I was like, how are teams not taking this guy in at least the 3rd round? So, I'm all over him. I hope they just – the enemies just unleashes it. Howell's awesome and Dotson's awesome and McLaren's awesome. It would be great.
JT, I roster Sam Howell in TGIF. I think I'm gonna have to put him on the block after that advertising.
I already tried to trade for him. Trade for him a couple times, you nerd. All right. We're done with the news and rumors. Here we go. Mighty McGlynn. I run a bunch of home leagues, Mighty McGlynn leagues, I call them. These are some recent trades that happened the last week or so. So these are 12-team, 30-man deep rosters, no kicker, defense. It's PPR, tight end premium, 0.75, Superflex with a 5 and 2 touchdown interception. 100 points for 6 points for 100 receiving, rushing like we talked about before. And it's same quarterbacks for 304 yards passing, you get extra points. Long play, things like that. So the first trade that we had was a contending team that traded to a team that was rebuilding. And this is a tough one to swallow right now. But Jamar Chase and Rachaad White for Christian Kirk, Nick Chubb, 23-111 and 23-204. Which side would you take on that one?
I'm always taking the Jamar Chase side.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jamar Chase side. I don't even think it's close. Christian Kirk now has Calvin Ridley in town. Nick Chubb is on an offense that doesn't want to run the football as much as they used to. The 111's okay. 204's okay. Jamar Chase is a stud, and Rachaad White could be an absolute beast in 2023. I don't really like this side for the rebuilder.
No, I would have kept Rachaad White and Jamar Chase. Absolutely. JT, I think we
talked about 100%. I like Christian Kirk probably more than most people like Christian Kirk, and that's just not even close to me.
Yeah. All right. Another trade was the same guy this is a good trade on his part, I think. He got a 23-304 and a 23-105 for George Kittle and a 208. The rebuilding team traded away George Kittle. So
I love this trade. I do love the trade. I think 105, it puts you in the driver's seat to come away with a potential starting quarterback. And then the 304, you can come away potentially with a Dalton Kincaid, Luke Musgrave. You could get yourself a tight end with the tight end premium. I like this. And then George Kittle, he's great, but he's also inconsistent. I love this for the rebuilder.
Yeah, I do too. Jason?
Yeah, I don't know. Earlier, I think I was leaning the Kittle side, but the 105 is pretty good. That could be Jackson Smith and Jigba on a good day. So, if that happens, I'm definitely taking it. I don't know. And I'm not even that high on George Kittle, but some reason I'm still kind of scratching my head about it, to be honest.
I'm not either with health concerns and the stuff going on and the offense changing a little bit. I'm not even that in on him either. Even when he was doing well, it's because everybody else on the team was hurt, and now he gets hurt all the time too. And the whole team just seems to have a bad stretching staff or something like that. It can't keep guys on the field. I don't know what it is, but
yeah.
JT.
I want the 1-5. I'm getting JSN here. I'm getting Addison here. I'm getting Gibbs here with that pick most likely. I'm taking the 1-5. And then, like he said, that 3rd round, I think you're going to see some running backs fall in that 3rd round, and especially if you're trying to replace him, there's a lot of tight ends. I like going about that 3rd round in this year's draft. So I like that move a lot.
All right, another one. This guy, same guy, traded away Brandon Cooks, and he got Quez Watkins and Darnell Mooney in the trade. So would you want the Brandon Cooks side for this guy's rebuilding? So he sent away Brandon Cooks, an older player. You got Quez Watkins, Darnell Mooney. Which side would you want?
I think Cooks is in for a huge year, or at least back to normal Brandon Cooks. But I still think I'm going to take that Mooney, Quez Watkins side.
Yeah, I'm honestly willing to throw away Quez Watkins as an asset altogether, and I still take the Darnell Mooney side. On our player profiler dynasty ranks, we got Brandon Cooks at 45, Darnell Mooney's at 48, and he's 4 years younger. Give me Darnell Mooney in a rebuild.
All Very good.
Yeah, I would have taken Mooney as well. I would have tried to see if I could have snuck out another rookie draft pick over Quez Watkins there if
Yeah.
I could have.
Even
Yeah.
at 310.
Yeah,
is better
that's
than
what I'm
that.
saying. I would have loved to get another third rounder in there early, some
Mhm.
mid third, and then I could have, especially the same team. Then I'm doubling up on tight end. I'm taking 2 different tight ends in that third round.
Ooh.
That's what I would have liked to do. Quez Watkins, he's going to have some games. The only time he really becomes valuable is an injury to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. He'll have some games for you, but man, he's more of a best ball guy because you don't know if you're going to get a 0 or a big one from him.
All right, so now it's the time part of the show where we evaluate a team every week. Thanks for all the input on the trades in my league. I appreciate it. So we evaluate a team every week. This is a person in my league that he thinks his team is fantastic. He tells me every week that my team sucks, even though I've been a championship for 2 years in a row. And this guy is pretty much the worst team in the league. But he was without Deshaun Watson for a year or so we'll give him that much. But this is his team. It's a super flex dynasty, 25 or it's 30 man rosters. Same everything I read about from the trades before. Those were all from these leagues. So Deshaun Watson, Damian Harris, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Deontay Johnson, Evan Ingram, Dallas Goedert, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Baker Mayfield, Cooper Rush, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, Bailey Zappi, Malik Willis, and then he's got Kenyon Drake, Leonard Fournette, Matt Breida, Naheem Hines, DJ Dallas, Eno Benjamin, Gary Brightwell, Kyron Williams, Travis Ebner, Khalif Raymond, Zay Jones, Mac Hollins, Trent Sherfield, Tutu Atwell, and Shi Smith. So, it starts off pretty good on the starting roster. He does actually, with Watson coming back, it helps him a little bit. Harris could have a huge year in Buffalo this year. I'm trying to trade for him, and this guy, I sent actually the 203 for Montgomery, and he turned it down, and I sent the 203 for Harris, and he's kind of in a rebuilding. I think in trying to get Harris because he's going to explode on Buffalo this year. I sent the 203 for Harris, and he turned that down too, which I thought was a mistake on his part, but whatever, it is what it is. Amon-Ra St. Brown's awesome. Tyler Lockett's underrated. Deontay Johnson, I think, is par for the course. Evan Ingram had a good year. Not sure if he can return to form. Goddard's always a good fit. Marquise Brown is pretty good when he's healthy, if they have a good quarterback. And we already talked about Mayfield before about him possibly having a career year if everything comes together. So who wants to start to analyze this team a little bit?
All right, so this is a fantasy football show, but are you guys familiar with the baseball movie The Moneyball?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That scene where Billy Bean, who's played by Brad Pitt, talks about the hierarchy of baseball teams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's good teams, there's okay teams, there's 50 feet of shit, and then there's this team. This team needs to rebuild, burn it down to the stakes, take your assets, and just start recouping. It's time to start rebuilding. You're not going to win. Deshaun's a good quarterback, but you're not going to win with Baker Mayfield as your super flex. If he gets benched for Trask, now you're rolling out no other quarterback. It's time to just look hard in the mirror and get yourself a rebuild. It's time. It's time to rebuild.
Yeah, his running backups. I mean, it's Fournette. Who knows what's going to happen with Fournette? God only knows. What Kenyon Drake is just a fill-in for a couple of weeks by him, but he's a roster clogger. Matt Breida, if Saquon goes down, he probably won't even be the regular back. And he minds the special teams guys even touch the ball. DJ Dallas, we talked about before. If something was to happen to Walker, Dallas is not going to be like the backup there. Was somebody everybody kind of had a soft spot in their heart for, but didn't really pan out. Brightwell again, just backup. Kyron Williams. I think people had some love for him when he came out of the, in the early draft process, but that's all gone. Travis Ebner's buried on a depth chart in Chicago. Khalif Raymond, blah, blah, blah. Zay Jones had a good year, but he's 32 years old, 31 years old now. Mac Hollins, he had some good spot plays before. Trent Sherfield, no thanks. Tutu Atwell's about he's 5'6", 112 pounds, so I'm not sure he's ever going to be the guy. Shi Smith, some people have even heard of Shi Smith when I go through the show before, so I don't know. Jason?
I'm looking at this team, and I want to sell a lot of these players for anything, and I mean anything. However, I see Deshaun Watson, I see Amon-Ra St. Brown, I see Evan Ingram, I see Dallas Goedert, I see Hollywood Brown. I like Leonard Fournette. I like Bailey Zappi. I like. I'm not gonna like anyone else on this roster.
So if somebody gets hurt, then the whole team just goes down the shitter. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely. But like you said, Tyler Lockett's underrated. Deontay Johnson's due for some regression. I think the starting roster is good enough to where if you just fire sell everyone, try to take some dart throws. And I mean, let's be honest here. We've all played fantasy football enough. Would you be surprised if this guy, you know, just ends up picking up like the next Zonovan Knight randomly in week 12 and is trotting out enough wins, just coughing through? I mean, I think you can make any team win. It's going to take, he's going to have to sell like 8 players for a first round pick, something like that to like really make up for it. He's going to need another quarterback for sure. But I mean, I think there's enough there. I really do think there's enough there.
8 players for a first round pick is kind of an uneven trade. You know, that's a lot of roster spots taken up.
Yeah.
JT?
Oh, so this is when I looked at this team initially, this is that classic middle of the road team that you're like, oh man, if everybody comes through for me, I'm in the mix. But one guy doesn't show up, 1 or 2 injuries happen, you're in trouble because he has got no depth on this team.
No.
So again, if he can play this team every week, he's golden. But you forget there's bye weeks, and there's going to be a bunch of these guys sitting certain weeks, and he's going to really struggle those weeks unless he ends up with a great matchup with somebody else who's missing a bunch of guys too. So it feels like when you initially look at it, like, oh, you can compete, you can maybe make a playoff spot with this team, but you might want to sell the assets before they're trash. You might want to try to start getting rid of some of these guys before they're worth absolutely nothing. Especially if a couple of these guys, if you can't move before the season starts, you know, say Darnold starts for the Niners because of whatever happened in the quarterback situation, you're going to need to move him immediately to someone that needs a guy, something like that. It just Baker comes out and starts killing it right away. Maybe you trade that up to a guy that needs him. Because from there, I don't see how there's any way this team wins the title unless every guy stays healthy, has the best year of their career, and all the guys they face end up having terrible games or guys get hurt down the stretch. It's not a team that can win the title. That's the problem.
Walrus, I hope this team goes 0-17, 0-16.
I think you could remove all the bye weeks from his players, turn off injuries, and this team's 4 games under 500.
That's what I said. I think easily it could happen that way. You need these guys to all have, like, if not their best season,
100% outcomes in 2023.
They need to play about as well as they possibly can if you're going to end up having this team compete. Because the names look nice. You look at the rush, like, yeah, it's not bad. Names look nice, but man, he's you know, outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown, like he's probably his only number 1 wide receiver. I mean, you're going to need Deshaun to come back to old school Deshaun, throwing the ball everywhere, or you're in trouble. I mean, Baker, even if Baker resurges and holds on the starting job all year, I mean, what are you really getting out of him as far as points wise? I mean, you hope he just holds the starting job all year so you have a second starting quarterback. I mean, that's where you're at this point. So, it's a rough one. It's a rough one. It's the worst type of team, where you're right there in the middle, and you're like, you can talk yourself into it that I'm still in the mix, and you know deep down in your heart you're out, and you can't let go. I've got teams like that too that I just can't let go. I look at them, I'm like, there's no freaking way, and then I'm like, maybe a miracle happens, and I make the playoffs, and everybody falls apart, and I slide in the championship game. I'm like, that's what I'm talking myself into, and that's a terrible way to go.
The worst part about this team is in 2023, it's only got a 3-11 pick and a late 4th round pick, and then after that, it's gotten the 2024. They don't have a pick until the 4th round, so they sold everything up to get to this team right now where it's at, and it's absolute garbage. So, yeah, I don't know. It's even worse.
This is the ultimate bamboozle. This is selling your soul for nothing.
And if he sells whatever he does for some draft picks, he better fucking hit on him because he can't afford to lose anything unless it's something special. So, you guys, we almost set a record here tonight. It's 1 hour and 3 minutes. I don't think we've ever done anything less than an hour in our entire life. So we were kind of like, we always say like 45 minutes to an hour. This show has lasted like 4 hours sometimes. It's been crazy, but we were trying to get the hour mark, and as soon as we started the team, I'm like, no, it's like 58 minutes. We're not going to make it. But
we were right there. Yeah, we were right there.
Pretty close.
Guys, thanks for coming on tonight. I had an absolute blast. I really appreciate you coming on and laughing with me and talking some football a little bit. I know you guys are super busy, so thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to come on the show, and I really appreciate it. So, JT, we'll start with you. Where can everybody find you at?
Yeah, hit me up on Twitter at JT Orange. I'm also in a bunch of Discords on JT Orange 4 on most of those. You can find my Dynasty IDP rankings on DLF. Also, you can find me doing Debbie shows, a few other things on Dynasty Pros. So check me out. About every other Monday, we're doing Debbie shows on there. Just did a quarterback show, is up on YouTube right now, and do another one here in 2 weeks. We'll start hitting up running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, all that good stuff.
Maddie?
You can find me on Twitter at Matty Kiwum. Check out my shows over at Player Profiler. Doing the game plan every Saturday. I got the Players Lounge with Cody Carpentier. It comes out once a month. I'm on the Mock Draft Live show quite often, but once a week. And I can't forget my best show, Trade Gods, with my man Jason Allard.
Absolutely. Jason, bring us out.
Yeah, at JFootballWine on the Twitter. If you join the Player Profiler Discord, which you should, playerprofiler.com/chat. Join that bad boy. You'll see me in there. You'll see Maddie in there. You'll see plenty of the Player Profiler faces. Plus, of course, like I said earlier, the Player Profiler Instagram and Facebook. You can find those by searching Player Profiler on either of those platforms. And, Trade Gods. Trade Gods. Every Thursday night. It is the best show on the network. On the network. Screw my mansion.
There you go. Yes!
I don't say that. This is confrontation.
That was tongue in cheek. Mr. Matt Kelly.
Erase this whole show.
This show is going to be called Screw My Mansion. That's Guys, thank you so much. I'm
Jason.
John
It was so nice to work with you.
Oh, absolutely. I hope you guys go to the expo. I hope you guys go to the expo so we can all have a couple of drinks, man. I got the first round, so you guys, thanks so much. I'm John McGlynn. You can find me on a Twitter machine at JohnMcGlynn75. And making the commissioner evaluation show what it is today. So thanks everyone for being part of the show today. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for everybody kind of jumping in. And guys, I haven't laughed as much since last week on the show, so thanks for Peace
Got
out.
them guests on the Rolodex, stopping by to talk about some Dynasty Superflex. Everybody, commish is in. It's time to sit down to listen to John McGlynn. Yo, who we trading, who we fading, who we getting off the squad. Knowledge never overrated, playing for number one. And yo, McGlynn is in. It's time to let the fun begin. It's the Commissioner Evaluation Podcast with John McGlynn.
Thanks for all you people that listen tonight. Thanks for everybody for listening. It'll be out in podcast form on Apple Podcasts probably tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Have a good night.